You know, when you see a massive bridge stretching across the water or a subway system being carved out right under a city, you see the obvious stuff, right? The concrete, the steel, all the heavy machinery. But behind all of that, there's an invisible blueprint. And I'm not talking about the one for the structure itself, but for how it all comes together. That, right there, is engineering management. I mean, it is so much more than just technical drawings. It's this incredibly complex dance of people, resources, and time. So how in the world do these massive projects go from just a vision to a reality without completely falling into chaos? Well, let's dive in and find out. To really get it, we first have to look past the physical stuff, the materials, and check out the core discipline that organizes literally everything. At its heart, engineering management is really both an art and a science. It's the science of applying proven principles, but it's the art of guiding a super technical project from the very beginning to the very end. It's the framework that makes sure an engineering solution doesn't just work on paper, but that it actually works in the real world, navigating all those constraints like money, deadlines, and of course, safety standards. Now, you hear these two words thrown around all the time, sometimes like they mean the same thing, but in the world of engineering management, they are worlds apart. And honestly, getting this distinction is totally key to understanding what a manager's real job is. And here's the breakdown. Think of it like this. Efficiency is all about doing things right. Using the least amount of time, money, and materials possible. But effectiveness, that's about doing the right things, making sure the project actually solves the problem it was designed for in the first place. A truly great manager has to be a master of both.
Okay, so who are the people actually responsible for this incredible balancing act? Let's take a look at the hierarchy that really makes these huge projects tick.
So it's usually broken down into three levels. Way up at the top, you've got the visionaries, the executives, the directors. They're the ones setting the big, long-term goals. Then, in the middle, you have the translators. These are your project managers turning that grand vision into actual workable plans. And then on the ground, you've got the front line, the foremen and supervisors, making sure the day-to-day work gets done right and, most importantly, safely. Every single tier is absolutely crucial. And this brings us to another really important distinction. We've been talking a lot about managers, but where do leaders fit into all this? Are they the same thing? Well, not exactly. This table really gets to the heart of it. See, a manager focuses on the how, the systems, the processes that make sure tasks get done correctly. A leader, on the other hand, focuses on the why and the who, the vision and the people, inspiring and motivating them. You could say a manager handles complexity, while a leader is the one who drives change. In a perfect world, you get both in the same person. This quote just nails it. The manager is the one making sure everyone is wearing their hard hat. The leader is the one who convinces them why pushing through a really tough week is worth it for the project and for the team. See? You need the rules and you need the morale. So we know who the players are, but what's their game plan? I mean, how do they actually steer a massive project from just a concept all the way to completion? Well, it all comes down to a few core functions. Everything, and I mean everything, starts with a plan. This is the foundation where the entire project gets mapped out before a single shovel even hits the ground. And it's way more than just blueprints. It's about trying to anticipate problems, setting realistic milestones, and figuring out the budget. You know the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail.
And here's a perfect real-world example of that. The planners knew that typhoon season in Manila could be a complete catastrophe for any underground work. So what did they do? They built their entire schedule around that predictable risk. That right there is brilliant strategic planning in action.
Okay, so once you've got a plan, you need to organize all your resources to actually make it happen. This is like a giant logistical puzzle. Getting the right people, the right materials, and the right equipment to the right place at exactly the right time. It's all about creating an efficient structure for action. A flood control project isn't just about digging canals, right? You need soil experts, you need water flow experts, you need construction crews. The whole organizing function is what brings these completely different teams together and makes them work like a single coordinated machine. So organizing sets up the structure. Staffing is what fills it with talent. I mean, you can have the best plan and the best equipment in the entire world, but without skilled people to operate everything and make smart decisions, that project is going absolutely nowhere. And this shows that staffing isn't always just about hiring locally. For some highly specialized tasks, like the super complex structural design of an expressway,
Managers had to look internationally to find the specific expertise they needed to get the job done right. The final piece of the puzzle is controlling. This is basically the project's feedback loop. It's asking the hard questions constantly. Are we following the plan? Is the quality where it needs to be? Are we staying on budget? It's all about constant monitoring and making those little adjustments to keep the whole project from veering off course.
You bet. For a landmark project like the CCLX Bridge, there was absolutely zero room for error. The controlling function was relentless. We're talking constant inspections, load tests, safety audits, all to make sure every single component met the highest possible standards for safety and durability. But it's not just about following a playbook. A process is super important, but what separates a good manager from a truly great one? Well, the very best, they bring something more to the table, a specific set of personal qualities.
They're visionaries. They see the long-term impact. They're decisive when a problem pops up. They're amazing communicators who can talk to engineers and local officials with ease. They build real teams, they adapt to surprises like a sudden typhoon, and maybe most importantly, they are ethical. And that isn't just some buzzword. In public works, it's about safeguarding lives and taxpayer money. It's about making sure bridges don't crumble and public trust isn't broken.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. As we face bigger and bigger challenges, from climate change demanding more resilient infrastructure to rapid urbanization needing smarter cities, which of these management qualities do you think will be the most critical for the engineers who are building our future? What's going to separate the good from the truly great?